Now that Mitch Johnson is the new San Antonio Spurs head coach, what are the expectations?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome back to Locked On Spurs. We're in the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you all back. And happy Wednesday, everybody. Hope you're having a great hump day. And as always, we thank you all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day. You guys are the everydayers. Be sure to subscribe at YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Ken's 5 Plus at YouTube. Just when you're there, YouTube, by the way, give a like, give a thumbs up, subscribe. Do that right now. It'll help us out tremendously here on Locked On Spurs. What are we talking about today? Well, now that it's official, Mitch Johnson is the new head coach for your San Antonio Spurs. What are the expectations? Are expectations high? Are they low? Are passes going to be given out for the technically rookie NBA head coach? We're going to be discussing that and then more, including your thoughts on the whole situation. You guys are leaving a lot of comments on the Locked On Spurs YouTube page regarding Mitch Johnson. We'll get to a few of them. Let's go and bring in our guest. Filling in today, as always, coming off the bench here. He is Rudy Campos back again. And Rudy, well, first of all, y'all want to follow him on X at Sweep the League and go to Sweep the League on YouTube. But also, Rudy, I think we need to give you out that six-man award because it's NBA award season right now. So might as well give you yours here. Here is your six-man of the year award from Los.
Appreciate it, man. You know, not only six-man of the year, I think it probably can get the most improved player award. I can pretty much get everything with the exception of MVP since it is Locked On Spurs. That's your award and your award only.
There you go. Yeah. But anyway, thank you, Rudy, again for stepping in to fill in at this episode on Locked On Spurs. So let's dive into it. I know you're busy. Mitch Johnson officially named the new Spurs head coach, Popovich's successor. Never thought I'd have him on my bingo card to be the successor to Popovich, but here we are. So he's been met with, well, especially from the fan point of view, kind of split. You know, there's team, he's going to do a good job. There's team Spurs. What are you doing hiring this guy? Nevertheless, Rudy, it is what it is. Nothing Spurs fans can do about it. Nothing you and I can do about it. So moving forward, it's all we can do. So with that being said, what are the expectations for him? Are they high? Are they low? Are they kind of right down the middle? Is it a wait and see approach? Rudy, I'm going to start this off by saying I think the expectations are going to be, I think they're going to be high. I think they're going to be high for him to produce on that court. And I'll tell you why. One, he technically had more than enough sample size last season. Not like he came in the last minute. Not like it was a situation in Denver where they fired the coach and then the new interim coach only had like a month or two. It wasn't like that. He got notice early in the season in November, and he completed the entire NBA season. So he's also has a resume that has experience within the Spurs system, from the Austin Spurs, being on the bench next to Pop, being behind Pop on the bench. No, he's worked his way up. He has familiarity with the system. Then, of course, there is the player expectations too. They think highly of him. Team owner Peter J. Holt gave a thumbs up. Brian Wright gave a thumbs up. Popovich gave a ringing endorsement. That's a lot of endorsements. And although he lacks an NBA coaching experience, he has it in other venues. Forget, he was an Austin Spurs championship assistant coach too. I get it. It's NBA, G League. There's a difference, but you got to get your experience somewhere. So he has it there. Also, Rudy, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Well, first of all, your thoughts on the expectation, high, low, in the middle, but how much is it more kind of double pressure because he's going into a new season with a loaded roster and a playoff/play-in drought?
Well, man, that's a lot to chew on there for a little bit, but I'm gonna tackle what you said first before I give mine. With your expectation, it's going to be high, and I can understand that. I think it's high based on a fan's perspective, and I'm going to just say on this point, because you mentioned off everybody that signed off on Mitch that agrees, Mitch to being the head coach, all the way from ownership, to front office, to Pop, to players. I think they've got the expectation that this team is going to continue to grow together. Now, on a win standpoint, I would say if he can get into that 40 range, which is possible depending on what they do in the offseason, that's a win-win right there. And one thing you got to understand too is that if I'm not mistaken, Jerry Tarkanian is the only Spurs coach to not make it X number of games, maybe fired not even halfway through the year. I think he was fired like 20 games into the year. So even guys like Bob Hill, who, pop success and that had a full season with the Spurs, John Lucas, a lot of these guys had seasons to work with the Spurs. I don't think that they're going to give him just a 1 year type of look and say, okay, this is not going the way we want. Got to go into the offseason, got to put a team around him. He's got to have input on who the team's going to be. So I think expectations are probably right around the medium level. I think they expect to win more games, but I don't think that they have playoffs on their mind unless they go and splurge in the offseason. You got to remember, Chris Paul's not going to be on this team more than likely this coming year. So there goes that whole point guard thing that you and I talked about years ago when they had struggles finding a consistent point guard. So if you look at that sense, they kind of are taking a step back without having a true point guard on the roster. So right now, I think it's just kind of just simmering right now when it comes to expectations.
Yeah, and I think expectations should be high because, again, the play-in playoff drought, you got to get out of it. Now, next season, I think there's a pretty good window size opening for them to at least make a play-in at minimum. So that being said, I think fans and you, me, everybody be, okay, well, look at Mitch. In his first season, he got him to the NBA play-in or possibly through the play-in into the playoffs. So that is stuff that's going to be a success. What's also going to help his success is, as of now, he'll likely have a healthy De'Aaron Fox, a healthy Wemby, seasoned Steph Castle, and who knows what they do in the draft, rather keep the picks, trade the picks, and, of course, free agency. So he's coming into a good situation where on the court, because obviously he can't play the 48 minutes, he should help this team get more wins than last season. I think that's also on the table too. So there's an expectation of an improved win total because many people feel that if Wemby and Fox had stayed healthy for a good chunk of the season, they could have really challenged for a play-in spot, not made it. Two, you got almost a complete roster. They still lack consistent three-point shooting and a backup big, but I think they'll address that in the offseason, in the draft. So you put that all together, and I think with the roster construction as expected to be come training camp, I think expectations are going to be high for him to produce. But what about this, Rudy? If he falls short, let's just say it's another down season, how bad is he going to be?
Well, let me first and foremost say, if you get any comments on Locked On Spurs as to my point guard commentary a little while ago, it shows the kind of day I've had. I completely forgot about Fox on the roster, but you also got to look at the backup point guard on that sense. But nonetheless, they've got Fox, they've got Wemby. Now, the question you asked about, if he falls short, what is considered falling short? I mean, you're coming off 34 wins, which is plus 12 wins from the previous season. Is falling short not making the play-in, or is falling short, getting – because to me, I think if he gets to 43 wins, 44 wins, adds more, does that mean they're a play-in team? I really don't know. Would it take 50 wins, I think, to get into the actual playoff?
Right.
So you probably got to get to around 45 or so, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, to get him play-in. So if he falls a game short of the play-in, is it a, riot type of form, stance in San Antonio or not? I think if he gets to that win total, I think that's a major step in the right direction. I think that's something that I would consider a success because now you are, a keyword here, you are above 500 team, which is what you need to be right now when you're struggling.
Yeah, no, I don't think the fan base will accept anything less than a play-in berth. I think that's what the expectation has been.
The fans want a title every year, so I mean,
but look, hey, at least they're tempering their expectations through a play-in berth. At least that, not marching down on Commerce Street because they're waving a parade, banners, what have you. But nevertheless, no, let's take a break. When we get back, I'm going to ask Rudy another question. We're going to be asking this: what about passes? Should he get a pass for next season? We're going to be discussing that and more right here on Locked On Spurs with Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. You want to follow him on X at Sweep the League right now. Show on YouTube same name, Sweep the League. I want to talk to you about Open Phone.
Running a small business means you're wearing a lot of hats. Your personal phone becomes your business phone, and before you know it, you're juggling customer calls day and night. As your team grows, it becomes impossible to manage everything with just your personal number. That's where Open Phone comes in. It's the #1 business phone system designed to help keep your work and personal life separate. For just $15 a month, the cost of a few coffees, you get a complete transparency and visibility into everything happening with your business phone number. Open Phone works through an app on your phone or computer and integrates with tools like HubSpot and hundreds of others. It also uses AI-powered call transcripts and summaries, so you'll have a rundown of all your calls and action items the second you hang up. And if you miss a call, no problem. Automated messages are sent directly to your customer, ensuring you never miss an opportunity to engage. Right now, OpenPhone is offering 20% off your first 6 months when you go to openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. That's OpenPhone.com/LockedOnNBA for 20% off 6 months. Openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. And if you have an existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge.
I am Megatron. Do not fail me and subscribe to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Rudy Campos, 6th man of the year right here on Locked On Spurs. Follow him on X at Sweep the League. And we are talking about Mitch Johnson. He is now officially the new Spurs head coach. So what are the expectations heading into his rookie NBA coaching season? Now, I emphasize rookie NBA head coach, Rudy, is because, there'll likely be some segment of fans saying like, oh, he deserves a pass. He deserves a pass. He's a rookie NBA coach. Hopefully the training wheels are off. That being Popovich last season, he was very open. He said that Pop was still helping him out, calling him on the phone, chewing him out. So he had that guidance there. I am hoping that is not there next season because he has to learn to spread his wings by himself. But barring all that, no Popovich, rookie head coach. It's his system now. Should he be given a pass? Should he fall short again, and the Spurs fall short again of making the postseason?
Ooh, I'm personally, I talk positive, and I look at the positives in a lot of ways, but I think it depends on one thing. I harp on this a lot. It's the roster put in front of him. Currently constructed, the roster, is not a playoff roster right now. It technically isn't. So if they go out and they make changes, they add, decent draft picks. I mean, say they give them the top 4 in the lottery, they add another, high caliber superstar type player to the mix. Then yeah, I mean, you're going into the season. Okay, you've got this team, you've got this lineup. This should get you minimum into the play-in spot. Mm-hmm. Or you traded for a Giannis Antetokounmpo or a soon-to-be topic on Sweep the League here. Boston Celtics are about ready to blow it all up.
Here we go. Here it goes.
And it's not Tatum. It's not Tatum. Trust me. It's not Tatum. But if you go out and get another star, all-star, even possible superstar, then, I mean, the expectation is playoff or bust. So I think the path comes on whether or not the Spurs can build a competitive team around them. And again, health is a factor. Fox's finger is not going to be 100% the entire time from what they've told us. We've already seen Wemby kind of go down with, some stuff that he's got going on. So health is a factor. But for me on the first year, Jeff, it's pretty much, let's see what we've got. Let's lay it on the table. Let's see what he can do. Because again, Spurs history shows they're not going to get rid of a coach after a full first season. I mean, like we mentioned, Tarkanian was the first guy that comes to mind, the only guy that comes to mind that got a very short stint with the San Antonio Spurs. So I think he gets a really good hard look this year. But pass wise, unless he's 0-20 or 1-24 to start the season, then I can't really see them doing much. So yeah, I mean, sort of a pass, I guess, for him.
Yeah, and I also think too, I think the Spurs are going to apply that whole, we're going to keep things slow with player development. They're also probably going to do that with coaching development with Mitch Johnson. Peter J. Hove's been on record saying they're not going to speed this up. So I think you're going to see Mitch Johnson continue to be the Spurs head coach beyond next season. Again, barring anything cap catastrophic. They go on some sort of Detroit Pistons with a few seasons ago, 20-something losing skid or something crazy like that. But barring that, no. And look, he's going to make his rookie NBA head coaching mistakes. That just comes with the territory. It's going to happen. But kudos to him because he does own it, as we saw last season when he was interim head coach. He took the blame for some losses as well. Now, for my opinion, does he deserve a pass? Oh, man. No, I think he's going to be on a short lease. Well, from the fan perspective, he's going to be in a short lease. From the team perspective, he's not going to be in a short lease. So there's the rub right there, because fans are going to be saying this: no more, regular season and we're done. No more 82 games and we're done. Mitch Johnson and Popovich said in the press conference that that they are aware that this team has been losing, and even Popovich said, hey, we're probably not going to win that many games, so they see it on the horizon too. But man, I think he gets a little bit of a leash next season, a little slack on that work, but not too much, because I think if they're in a play-in or dare I say playoff hunt post All-Star break, then I want to see how he is as a head coach to get the team into the postseason. Imagine that. Imagine if you're a rookie NBA head coach. You got Wemby, Fox, Castle, possible high draft pick, and then your supplementary pieces, as if they're still on the roster, so Vassell and Keldon. That should be enough to get you into the play-in. That should be enough. Now,
on paper,
yeah. Yes, on paper, that should be enough to get you in. But I would like to see how he does in that situation. I think there's a lot of what if still. What if the Spurs are in the playoff hunt, play-in hunt? What if they're tanking? I mean, not tanking, where they're bottoming out again. They're just not getting it going. How will he adjust as the season moves on? He's going to take his lumps, and I want to see his growth as well. He's just 38 years old. 38 years old. He's a baby. And it's his first time as a full-time NBA head coach. Now, the good thing is, and I want to get your opinion on this, Rudy, is that he has Brett Brown next to him, and he shouted him out, called him uncle, not by blood, but, just, by nickname. How huge is that for Mitch?
I think his coaching bench is going to be, the assistants are going to be very important. He's going to lean on Brett Brown a whole lot. Somebody that already has head coach experience, been through the Spurs system when they won titles. I mean, he's gonna really lean on them more, which I think this season, I don't think he did. I think he tried to take on the entire, I guess the entire situation at hand. Maybe he wasn't in, completely in light of everything going on with Pop. Things could have been said. So I think putting in that situation was a little tough for him. Probably didn't lean on him a whole lot more than he should. And I think this season, you'll probably see that. I don't think the rotation issues are going to be a factor anymore. Certain timeout situations. Again, this is something he's going to work in with his assistant coaches this offseason. I think they add another assistant coach, but another experienced coach, kind of what they did with J.J. Redick in Los Angeles, when they brought two coaches in there. I can't remember offhand who they were. I think Nate McMillan was one, and I can't remember the other guy. So two guys that have a lot of experience. I think they do the same thing with Mitch. They're going to go out and spend a little money, bring in another assistant coach out there. Shout out to at Josu41 on YouTube for the comment that made earlier. It's not going to be Coach Bud. If it is, it's going to be as an assistant. I think he took Coach Bud over Mitch when I told him I would take Mitch over Coach Bud. But I see them adding another top assistant somewhere in there, and I think he's going to rely on them a whole lot more this season, which, again, helps with the growth. He's only 38, man. He's one of the youngest coaches in the NBA. So, I mean, he's going to learn, and he's going to have a lot of bumps and bruises along the way.
And there's so many things why he'll likely be looked at under a microscope next season. One, you're in Popovich's shadow. I mean, now he's really in it. Last season, there was, he's interim head coach. Maybe he'll come back. Maybe he won't. So there was a little bit of that. But now that Pop has given him his full endorsement and we're moving forward, now he's officially in Pop's shadow. Also, too, I think there's going to be a lot of skepticism. Sure, you're a good player development guy. You communicate well, but let's talk about those in-game adjustments. Talk about the X's and O's, roster moves that you need to make. There was sometimes last year I was saying like Chris Paul had no business out there starting unit, but Mitch Johnson never wavered on that. He kept with that and didn't go with Castle. We'll see how he does the next season. Also, too, there's this too, and I think this is probably the biggest thing that's going to keep him on the hot seat a little bit. Well, you know what? Let's hold that thought. Let's come back on that. Let's take another break, and I'll ask Rudy this question right now. The biggest thing that's keeping Mitch on the hot seat next season, and it's interesting to hear what we got to say about this. Talking about next right here on Locked On Spurs with Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Make sure to follow him on X at Sweep the League. You want to do that ASAP, and don't forget to subscribe to Locked On Spurs on YouTube as well.
Hey, this is Hot Rod.
And I'm RC from the San Antonio Spurs.
And you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
We're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Follow him on X at Sweep the League and subscribe to Locked On Spurs right now at YouTube and where we get your favorite podcasts. Here's where I think this is the hot seat potential and what could really put him on that burner is this team is shifting from rebuilding to competing now. They're at that juncture in their rebuild right now. That you see it. You can see they're there. They're right there. And if this was early in the rebuild and they earlier, like year one Wemby, maybe pre-Wemby, when the tanking year, if they made the shift already, you can see some slack to Mitch. But now that this franchise is going from rebuilding to competing, maybe as soon as next season, Rudy, how about that? Do you think that is going to cause high expectations for Mitch?
It causes expectations. Again, I don't think it's playoff expectations yet, probably play-in expectations. But if you kind of look at it, he technically shouldn't be much on very much of a hot seat because a lot of these wins came after the fact that Pop was already, out for the season after the stroke. So he did lead into some wins, and the losses that they ended up having, again, boneheaded losses. Some of them were just, unfortunate losses that just tend to happen in the NBA when you're not very talented on the court. You lack a lot of talent. Sometimes talent outweighs, the team that you have. But I don't think it puts him very much on the hot seat as far as having high expectations. Like I said, I think what puts him on the hot seat early on the season is having a roster that can compete. And like you mentioned, minimum play in right now on paper. I think it's getting off to that slow start. If you got a 20-game start and you're at 2-18 or 3-17, those are the times when it's okay. We may need to consider another route because at that time, Jeff, if you're 20, 30 games in the season and you are, sitting at maybe 12, 13 games under 500, sometimes the players are checking out at that time already, and they need a change. You need to really, really make them aware of some stuff. So I think that's when there's time to worry. But right now, I don't see a really big hot seat for him unless it's just a disastrous start.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the likely scenario is this. Mitch will likely get some slack to start the season. You factor a lot of things for that. One just started his rookie season campaign officially. There's Pop Shadow. There's the player endorsements from Wemby to all the rest of the roster, the organizational trust. And I think you put all that together, there's going to be some slack. But again, I think you'll start seeing it mount higher and higher and higher as the season moves on next year. And we'll see. I think that's what's going to happen. Fans are ready. Even if Pop were to come back, say he did come back and he was fine, then, okay, well, we got to make the playoffs now, or we got to make the play. I think that pressure was going to be there regardless if it was Mitch or Pop coming back. But with a young coach, 38, and he had a respectable interim head coach record, all things considered, all the circumstances from the stroke to, Wemby and Fox, it was 31-45. So
yeah, that's actually a really good record.
That was respectable. So
yeah,
and so you put that all together, I think that's what you're going to see. You're going to see some slack to start the season, and as the season goes on, it's going to get higher and higher and higher. Especially if they're being competitive, if they go on some sort of losing skid, and let's just say, here we are post All-Star break, and the play-in is within sight, is within reach. let's say oh man, well, you can get into a 6 seed, you can get into a 7 seed, you can jump from 8 to 6 or something like that. You start seeing it build and build and build. But you know what? I think Mitch welcomes that type of pressure. Your thoughts?
I think so. I mean, again, he's been under Pop's tutelage for a while now. He's seen how Pop coaches. He understands the pressure of it. I think where you're going to see him really, really come through for the Spurs is he's going to learn from those mistakes he made last year. Again, you said 31-45 as a record. I mean, it could have easily been around the 37, 38 wins, for his record. So there was just those few games that he made a mistake on. I think with the pressure coming in, I think he's going to actually love it. And I think in the offseason, he's going to have that hands-on feeling now to build a roster to help with players and on his team that he feels can help them win more and more and more. So the biggest dark cloud was coaching. We didn't know what Pop was going to do. We didn't know what this was going to happen. Now that cloud has just disappeared and it's Mitch Johnson's team to lead now, I think you're going to see a different side of the Spurs. And you know what? He's a younger coach. So that whole old style of, half-court basketball, of, this and that, it might be changing now. You might start seeing a faster-paced game. You might start seeing, a more defensive intensity type of game. So it could be all fun and games once we're all said and done. But, yeah, I think he loves the pressure on it, and I think he's gonna gel really well with these guys, again, as long as they build the roster around him.
Yeah, exactly. And one more note before we get into some fan comments real fast, too. I think what could mount on him and put more pressure on him, especially if this team is struggling, it's a post-All-Star break, is when you start hearing fans or maybe local media, national media start saying, well, you see, that's why you could have gotten a proven coach like a Mike Malone or a Jenkins. I think that could be an issue that could possibly pop up. But I don't think he will. I think the Spurs definitely will be better than last season. I think their record will be better. They have a competitive roster as of right now. So I don't think that would pop up. But if it does, you can definitely see fingers being pointed. Like, you should have gone after this guy. You should have gone after this. Mitch wasn't ready.
Yeah.
You're still hearing that.
No, yeah, simply put, the Spurs, and this is something that fans got to understand. I wanted Mike Malone, Taylor Jenkins. I wanted one of these high-profile names because I figured, hey, you've got to get a proven guy in here with the team as young as it is. But once I looked at everything, I kind of thought about it, and I saw the writing on the wall. They're not going to spend, the 20, 25 million a year on a high-profile coach if, they're not going to get the type of return that they're expecting. I mean, Malone's not going to take this team to an NBA title contender overnight. It's going to take him a couple of years. So I think just riding with a guy that, was pretty successful last year, 31-45 last year, and riding with him, players gave him the okay. Everybody, loves the way he coaches, and everybody has high respect for him. You're not going to pay him the $25-30 million a year. I mean, he's going to have to earn. Yeah, he's going to have to earn it. He knows that. And when you're hungry, you tend to work harder. And I think at the end of the day, it'll be a good fit.
All right, there you have it. We got to hear your thoughts. Is Mitch Johnson under high expectations heading into next season? Let us know what you think by letting Rudy know on X at Sweep the League, and letting me know by leaving a comment at Locked On Spurs YouTube page. And while you're there, might as well give it a thumbs up and a subscribe. All right, Sweep the Locked On Spurs page is getting to a couple of comments here, and shocker, yep, it's all about Mitch. So here we go. The first one is from Jod Jones 420. He says, if the Spurs front office, being RC, Buford, Pop, and Brian Wright, have the confidence in Mitch Johnson, who are the so-called experts with their comments to judge? Let's continue on here. Let's see. Yeah, he left a long comment here. It says, Malone and Jenkins were fired for a reason. Stop saying that Johnson has no experience. He has been in the second chair under Pop for years. He left a long comment, but, unfortunately, John Jones, we don't have time to read it. But the gist of it is saying, hey, if RC, Pop, and Brian have confidence in Mitch, then why shouldn't we have confidence in Mitch? What do you think about that comment?
I fully agree. I don't know about the Brian Wright, confidence. I think a lot of us understand that there's a little shaky confidence on Brian Wright. But if you've got Pop and RC, most importantly, the players are backing him 100%, as well as ownership. So if they can, who are we to question on their selection? I mean, could be worse. Could be grabbing somebody that doesn't know anything, and there goes the whole bandwagon, everything you tried to assemble. So yeah, I mean, they shouldn't really question what they have right now. At least not right now. We got to be fair about it. If it does fall off the rails, Jeff, then questions galore and start writing whatever. That's all them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think you got to give Mitch a fair shot. I know there's some Spurs fans that were not happy with the hiring. Trust me, I know. I got messages saying, "What are this team doing? Flipping tables, those kind of vibes." But I know you weren't, and I wasn't surprised that it happened. Not at all. But yeah, it is what it is. Look, Spurs fans, it is what it is. What can you do? You can't change it. It is, and you just got to move forward and hope for the best. All right, the next comment. It's right up your alley. It's about the draft. Here we go. It's from Jack Charles C4750. He says, "No way, period. Don't need stars. We need our picks because we are too small, except for Wemby. There is nobody inside. We need a size at center, a power forward, and a 6'10" winger." So he's looking at the picks to address the lack of size, big forwards, and I guess a bigger wing guy. What do you think about that? Do you think those needs, those holes on the Spurs roster could be addressed in the draft, or can they just get that in the free agency period or trading?
For big guys, I would say 100% need to go through free agency. When you come to front court players, especially with Wemby, who's still relatively young, you want some veteran guys in there to go help them out. And whether it be, a guy like, I'm just throwing at Brook Lopez, if you ever had an opportunity to get him, maybe, surprisingly, you trade for a Jakob Poeltl or somebody like that. Yeah. You need to get some veteran big men. So I wouldn't really necessarily go through the draft. There's some big guys in this draft, but there's none that I would take if you've got a top 5, top 6 pick right now. Cooper Flag's not a true, low post guy. Ace Bailey's not a true low post guy. So definitely that's something on the free agency side. But I understand picks. You've got half of the world that likes the draft picks, half of the world doesn't like draft picks. It's fool's gold, man. You're not gonna hit on majority of the draft picks. It's super rare for one of your draft picks to just turn into a massive, Hall of Fame type of player. So I'd say go for the actual guarantee are the free agents out there that are going to help your team right away.
Yeah, and for me too, I would like just even if it was a lack of a guard or small forward, I just like the idea of having more veteran presence on the court for the Spurs, and you can address that. Brook Lopez I think would fit well. Jakob, I think he would love to. Trust me, I don't know if he would like a backup job, but I'm pretty sure.
Well, he wouldn't be backing up. No way.
Oh, right. He'd be starting alongside.
Yeah, he would start alongside Wemby, and that would be probably easy top 5 back front court in the league. Easily.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you all for leaving those comments on Locked On Spurs YouTube page. Hey, leave a couple while you're out at it. Maybe we'll read it in a future episode. Rudy, we thank you for coming off the bench once again, filling in here at Locked On Spurs. By the way, you want to go to the Locked On Spurs YouTube page. There's some comments directed your way. I'm not going to read them right now. I don't want you to be surprised. Surprised. Rudy definitely stirs the pot on Locked On Spurs. You definitely do, Rudy. And some people don't like your take. Sometimes fans don't like your takes on Locked On Spurs.
It's okay. I am me, man. And you know what? I'm not 100% right, but I'm also not 100% wrong. So, they can come after me all the time. But what's good about me is you can always debate me about it. I'm a really cool person to debate about. I don't ever make you feel small or anything like that. So, best time to do it. And I'll do the cheap plug here. Sweep the League TV on YouTube. Go there, check us out on the show. You can debate with us there. We have a great time. Talk a lot of stuff. So, YouTube TV, Super League TV.
Absolutely. And no, Rudy is also very humble. He doesn't text me to pop his collar about his Knicks Celtics prediction, right, Rudy? That's right?
I would say in the words of Kirk Cousins, you like that. Did you like that? I told you watch out for the Knicks in game 1. Yeah,
I still think Boston lost that game. Not necessarily the Knicks won the game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got Boston in 6, but I knew the Knicks. It's not as big of a shocker as the Thunder losing Denver.
Jeez.
And and that was a giveaway if I've ever seen one. So that's terrible.
Absolutely. Again, he is Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Follow him on X at Sweep the League. And we thank God for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day. Available wherever you can podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Kens5 Plus app, YouTube. The list goes on and on. You guys are the everydayers, so keep on coming back here to Locked On Spurs every single day. Yes, even through the off season. Hey, while you're at it, why don't you go check out NBA Game Night on Locked On NBA on YouTube. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts. You get local analysis on a national scale, so go check it out. And it's every night until the NBA champion is crowned. Make sure to do that. Tomorrow, we're going to be joined by Vinny Bencetta. Yeah, the Vin Dog. He has a lot to say about Gregg Popovich, so we're going to get his thoughts on that and more tomorrow on Locked On Spurs. So for Rudy Campos, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.